Hello and welcome back to Stories to Believe. If you are ready to expand your mind and take your English to the next level, you are in the exact right place. Before we begin, remember that this video is specially designed as a listening practice for you, so clear your mind, focus on my voice, and try to catch the advanced vocabulary. Now, let me ask you a question. Why is it that some people seem to pick up new languages, learn musical instruments, or master complex professional skills almost effortlessly, while others feel stuck in the exact same place for years? Have you ever started a new book, a new course, or a new hobby with high energy, only to abandon it a few days later because it felt too overwhelming? Why does our brain crave growth, yet fight so hard against the process of learning? Most people believe in a famous psychological concept known as the 10,000-hour rule. This rule states that to become truly good at anything, you need 10,000 hours of intense, nonstop sacrifice. Naturally, this thought creates an immediate, terrifying mental wall. We look at our busy lives and think, I don't have that kind of time. But what if modern neuroscience proves that this belief is a complete lie? Today, we are going to explore the incredible science of neuroplasticity and unlock a secret that will change your life forever. The 20-hour rule. Part 1. The biological friction. To understand why learning a new skill feels so incredibly difficult in the beginning, we must first travel inside the human brain. The brain is a masterpiece of biology, but it is also an organ designed to conserve energy. It is by nature highly efficient, which is a scientific way of saying it is lazy. Your brain operates using a massive network of pathways called neural pathways. Think of these pathways like roads in a city. When you perform a routine task, like speaking your native language, driving a familiar route, or scrolling through your phone, your brain is driving down a smooth, perfectly paved highway. It requires almost no mental energy. However, the moment you decide to learn a completely new skill, let's say coding, playing the piano, or speaking fluent English, you are demanding something different. You're forcing your brain to step off the smooth highway and cut a path through a dense, wild jungle. This biological phenomenon is driven by neuroplasticity, which is the brain's unique ability to rewire and restructure itself in response to new experiences. Building these new pathways requires a massive amount of glucose and cognitive energy. This is why the first few hours of learning a new skill do not feel fun. They feel frustrating, exhausting, and even physically uncomfortable. Your brain is experiencing intense friction. It is actively resisting the change, desperately wanting to return to its comfortable lazy mode. Unfortunately, most people misunderstand this initial frustration. They mistake this natural biological friction for a personal lack of talent. They experience 5 hours of difficulty and think, I'm just not smart enough for this, or I don't have the natural talent. But science shows that this pain isn't a sign that you are failing. It is the exact moment your brain is growing. Part 2. The illusion of competence. Another massive psychological trap that causes people to fail in their learning journey is what cognitive scientists call the illusion of competence. Have you ever spent 3 hours reading a textbook or watching an educational video on YouTube, nodding along, thinking you completely understood the material, only to realize the next day that you cannot remember a single thing? This happens because your brain loves passive consumption. When you read a page or watch a video over and over again, the material becomes familiar to your eyes. Your brain confuses this familiarity with actual mastery. You think you know it because it looks recognizable, but you haven't actually built the neural pathways required to store that information in your long-term memory. True learning requires friction. It requires a method called active recall. Instead of reading a text 5 times, you should read it once, close the book, and force your brain to recall the information from memory. This process feels difficult. It makes your head hurt. But it is precisely this mental struggle that forces the brain to strengthen its connections. If you do not test yourself, if you do not make mistakes, you are not actually learning. You are just entertaining your brain with the illusion of knowledge. People quit learning because they want the process to feel easy, but if it feels easy, you are doing it wrong. Part 3, the 20-hour miracle. Now, let's shatter the 10,000-hour myth once and for all. Psychologists who study human performance have made an incredible discovery. You do not need 10,000 hours to become highly competent at a skill. 10,000 hours is what it takes to become an elite, world-class expert, like an Olympic athlete, a grandmaster in chess, or a world-renowned neurosurgeon. But to go from knowing absolutely nothing about a subject to being surprisingly good, you only need 20 hours of focused, deliberate practice. The 20-hour rule, discovered through rigorous behavioral research, states that if you can endure the first 20 hours of intense frustration and confusion, a biological miracle happens. Your neuroplasticity kicks in fully. The neural pathways in your brain become wider and stronger. Suddenly, the friction begins to disappear. The skill stops being a painful chore and starts to become automatic. Think about it. What is 20 hours? It is not an impossible mountain. It is simply 45 minutes a day for a single month. Anyone can find 45 minutes a day by reducing their screen time or waking up a bit earlier. The secret of successful people is not that they possess a genius brain or superior genetics. The secret is that they possess the emotional discipline to tolerate being bad at something for the first 20 hours. They accept the fact that they will look foolish, make silly mistakes, and feel confused during those first few hours, knowing that a breakthrough is waiting for them on the other side. Your next 20 hours. Real wealth and success in our modern, rapidly changing world is not just about the currency in your pocket. It is your capacity to adapt, reinvent yourself, and master new skills quickly. The world does not care what you knew yesterday. It cares about how fast you can learn today. The only thing standing between you and a life-changing new skill, whether it is speaking perfect English, starting a digital business, or mastering an art, is 20 hours of focused, unfiltered effort. Stop waiting for a magical spark of inspiration or a perfect stress-free moment in your life. That moment will never arrive. Embrace the initial confusion. Accept the mental exhaustion. Give your brain the exact amount of time it needs to rewire its physical structure. You are infinitely more capable than your lazy brain wants you to believe. Trust the process, conquer the first 20 hours, and watch your reality transform. Follow us.